Hey guys, it's Brad and the Buff. I got my buff in my head and I'm ready to go. I wanted to give you a couple of easy tips to make your trips go that much better. These aren't genius things, but they're little things that nobody told me that I figured out on my own that I wanted to give back to you guys. So I'm going to show you those right now. Okay, my first tip is when you're packing your items and packing your food, pack the way that you're planning out your trip. And what I mean by that is don't just throw a bunch of food in your pack. Go, hey, this is Friday night dinner, this is Saturday morning breakfast, this is Saturday first lunch, Saturday late lunch, this is Saturday night dinner, like all the way through, so that all your, and the same thing with your gear, as you're packing your gear, hey, when I get into camp on Friday night, what am I gonna do? Oh yeah, that's right, I'm gonna get out my sleeping pad, I'm gonna get out my tent, I'm gonna get out my sleeping bag. Then that night, I'm gonna need my jacket, and if it rains, I'm gonna need this. So think about how the trip is going to go as you're planning your items. I can't even tell you how many times somebody forgot an essential piece of gear like a sleeping pad or maybe a water filtration because they didn't think through the trip. They just took stuff that they always grabbed, threw it in a bag, but they left something at home and they didn't check it. So don't just check your gear and look through it, because it can be, 30 pieces of gear there. It's easy to leave out one piece, but if that piece you left at happens to be your cooking system, that's a problem. So kind of think about how the trip is going to go and plan it in your head as you're packing your items. That way you don't forget anything. So that's an easy tip. The second tip, which is critical, and I wish someone had told me, is clip your toenails, especially your big no toenails, as far back as you can before your trip. Your toes, if your toenails are a little bit longer, it doesn't matter when you're walking around during the day, but if you take tens of thousands of steps over a weekend that you're not accustomed to, your big toenail will hit the front of your shoe repeatedly. And I have lost several toenails because I just forgot to clip the front of my big toe toenail. And it can get quite painful. So make sure you clip your toenails before your trip. That is a super easy one. Another one, when you're inflating your bags, your sleeping pad, if you have an inflatable sleeping pad, the first time you blow it up, it's your hot air. And especially if it's cold outside, when you blow it up, it gets a lot of hot air. But what happens is the air inside of there cools down and it compresses. So what I always do is I blow up my sleeping pad. I let it sit while I'm making dinner or whatever, and it will start to deflate, and then I'll give it one more time. I'll blow it up with a lot more air just before I go to sleep. And then that way I don't end up in the middle of the night with my sleeping pad halfway deflated. Just that putting air in it twice before I go to bed has really done the trick to make sure that the hot air that I put in as it gets cooled down doesn't compress enough to leave soft spots in your sleeping pad. So that's another one. If you're cold weather camping, this is a big one. Don't leave your filtration system, don't leave your water out where it's going to freeze overnight. What I will typically do is I will tuck my drinking straws or my filtration system, I will tuck it underneath of my sleeping pad. And that just insulates it enough so that my straws don't freeze, whatever my water filtration is, it doesn't freeze. In the past, I've taken my system, sat it in the corner of my tent, and waking up, my entire straw is now completely frozen, and I got to sit there and tuck it under my shirt or whatever to get it to unfreeze so I have drinkable water. And that's no fun. And plus, you can ruin your water filtration systems if they get frozen in the night. So you don't want to do that. Simply take them, make sure they're somewhere, at least kind of warm. I like to put them under my sleeping pad because just that little bit of insulation will keep them from freezing. It has worked for me in the past, but that's another one. I also, when you get to the end of your toilet paper rolls at home, and there's just a little bit left on the little cardboard rolls, snag that for your hiking trips. Those are perfect. Because having that cardboard piece in there, make sure that it doesn't get all ruffled up inside your pack. It gives it some rigidity. And that cardboard piece is a great fire starter. So you can use it to kind of help yourself along building your fire. But when you're getting to the end of your toilet paper at home, and it still has a cardboard in, snag it off the thing, flatten it out, get it ready for your next backpacking trip. That's a good tip. Another thing that I like to do, I use caffeine straws, the Crystal Light caffeines. They work fantastic when you're getting ready to go up a big hill. Nothing like taking one of those, and I don't mix it anything. I just take a little bit of the powder. We all, the guys that I go with, it's been effective. But those little caffeine straws, I think they're about 120 milligrams of caffeine, which is about like a cup of coffee. But when you're getting ready to go up a big climb, and I can just take a little bit of that powder and have it in my mouth, it kind of wakes you up, and it gives you a little bit of mental agility to make it up those hills so you're not fighting against yourself. That has been extremely helpful. I always save a couple straws for big climbs just to get me excited. It gets your brain going and thinking, and you can have good conversation going up the hill. So that's another tip. One big one is when you are, it's easy to do a map quest. Well, I guess that's old Google Maps, but a Google map to get to your starting destination. A bunch of times I have dropped one car off at one end and another car at the other end, not remembering that when I get back to the starting point, I am not going to have GPS to take me back to where I dropped the other car off. So make sure you map out where you are going driving wise to go pick up a car if you're putting a car at each end. This seems like a really small detail, but it can be huge because typically you Google map the end, you hop in your cars, you get in, you go there, you have the second one already mapped out, which it's saved, but then you do your entire hike and you get back to your car and you hop in and you realize you have no idea how to get back to the car you were previously at unless you have internet. So make sure that you do know how to get back to the other car that you dropped off without having the internet, or that you're going to get back to a place where you can pull your GPS back up, because that can be a disastrous thing, trying to guess which backcountry roads you're going to have to make in order to get back to your other car. This is a simple one that I think most people know, but whatever you're going to wear out in the morning in cold weather, tuck that in your sleeping bag. That way it's somewhat toasty for you when you get up. You can change inside your bag. Don't leave it out, and if you do leave it out inside of your tent, make sure you put it in some kind of stuff sack, because a lot of moisture gets inside those tents from just you breathing, and that moisture gets inside of your clothing. So if you're going to not put it inside of your sleeping bag or inside of your quilt, then make sure you have it inside of something else, inside of your backpack or just inside of some kind of stuff sack, so it doesn't absorb that moisture from sitting inside your tent overnight. So I typically put it inside my pack so it's nice and warm in the morning. I can get up, I can put on my warm clothes before I have to go. Something else I've added to my trips for recovery that I think has made a difference is bone broth tubes. I really enjoy, they have a great Thai curry one that's great for dinner at night, and I drink that just for a few extra calories and some extra protein. I can mix it in the morning. It's still good in the morning, but I like using a Thai curry. I use Lonolife. That's what I've been finding. They make these per use tubes. They are kind of pricey. They're about, I think, about $1 a tube or $2 a tube, but I think they're worth it for 2 or 3 nights. They make a great frothy drink after dinner or to go with your dinner. You can also pour them inside if you like ramen. They help flavor your ramen. So I would recommend bringing bone broth. I didn't used to, but I like it now. I think it does help with recovery and gives you a few more positive calories. Let me see, I got a little list here. Another one that I think is very useful, and this is the last one, is before your trip, make sure you have water in the car with you that's not part of your regular. I like to drink coconut water before a trip. I don't know, it's just a thing I do. But make sure whichever car you're going to finish at, or at your finishing point, if you have the luxury, put water in your car. It has given me a lot of relief to know that once I make it back to the car, there's going to be water. So if I'm running low on water, I don't have to stop and filter on the last day. If I want to hike extra light and I know it's 8 miles out, I know when I get back to the car, there's definitely multiple liters of water there that I can recover with. Just in the event that you miss a water spot or something's dried up, it's good to know that there is water and you know where you're going to get it. So make sure that wherever you're ending your trip at, if there's a car parked there, go ahead and throw 3-4 extra liters of water in there for your group, so that you can make sure that even if you had to go a day without something terrible, I've never had this happen, but it's always nice to know that it's in there. But if something terrible happens where there's some water sources that are dried up, you know you're not that far away from being able to get back to a reliable water source. So keep water in there. It's also, like I said, it lets you hike out extra light on your day out. If you're only going 5 or 6 miles, I might only take a liter with me, because I know I got that other liter in the car sitting there that I can hit when I get back. So there's a few quick, easy tips for you guys. Can't wait to see you next time. Hey guys, if you like the video you just saw, please subscribe, click the bell so you can get alerted for any new videos that I may do, and check the links below for any information I described in the video. I'll try to put as much there as possible. Thanks for watching.